Well, it is time for a featured review. And for that, we are going to the world of Spike Lee. The latest Spike Lee joint, highest to lowest, as if it was like a Fast and Furious movie or something. Zach, this was on your most anticipated list. So you're starting us off. Tell us all about highest to lowest and what you thought.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared to make the Too Fast, Too Furious reference. I was going to say this is the best blank to blank movie since the Tim Allen classic Jungle to Jungle. I mean, who can forget that? But anyway, this is a movie that is a remake of an Akira Kurosawa movie. Although Spike has been pretty insistent in interviews that this is not a remake. He says it's a reimagining or reinterpretation of the Spike Lee film High and Low, which is based on an Ed McBain potboiler crime novel from the late 50s. And this is a movie that stars Denzel Washington. It's the first time Denzel and Spike have worked on a movie since Inside Man. It's kind of crazy to think it's been that long. But Denzel in this movie plays a music mogul named David King. And at the beginning of the movie, you see that he's living a very posh lifestyle. He lives in a great high rise. He's married in this movie to, let's see, what's the actress's name? Ilfenesh Hadera. He has a son in the movie. His son is coached by the great Rick Fox, shout out, which was kind of a random scene, but okay. And so his son has a friend, and his son's name is Trey. His friend is Kyle, and Kyle's dad is played by Academy Award nominee Jeffrey Wright as a guy named Paul, who's sort of like this consigliere figure to David King. He went to jail for him. He served some jail time. Now he's working as like a glorified chauffeur or something like that. But, you know, you find out kind of early on in this movie that even though he's very affluent and very wealthy, David King has some financial struggles. He is wanting to reacquire or maintain ownership of a label. I wasn't always sure. I didn't always follow the business aspect of this movie. And there's quite a bit of dialogue about the kind of ownership and corporate sort of structure of the music industry in the first like 30 minutes of this movie. And I kind of tuned out of it a little bit, but you get the basic idea that Denzel Washington, although he looks very wealthy, he's actually somewhat hiding it, somewhat for show, because he wants to maintain his integrity as someone who wants to actually do this business for the music and not just be a sellout. Anyway, the plot of this movie is that kidnappers come, they steal what they assume to be David's son, but they actually, on accident, because of the Boston Celtics, and definitely LVP of this movie and the movie Take It, Make It winner, Ticket Bomb something, I don't know, whatever we call that award. They accidentally kidnap Jeffrey Wright's son. And of course, Jeffrey Wright is not wealthy. He's not prepared to put up the $17.5 million ransom. And so when this mix-up is discovered, obviously David King is the Denzel Washington character is very reluctant to sort of say, well, am I really going to put up this amount of money for a kid that isn't even my own? Meanwhile, you have pressure being put on him by his fans, by the company that is now realizing that the future could be at stake if all of this money goes to these kidnappers. And the kidnapper himself, who's played mostly in a vocal performance by A$AP Rocky, who's doing his best interpretation of Ray J on the morning on the Breakfast Club. I don't know if you guys get that reference, but that's a great YouTube clip. Thank you, Adam. You're there for me. Anyway, so hijinks ensue. There is a cash transfer that happens along the subway at some point. David is finally pressured into giving up his money, but he's very reluctant to do it. And then when he does it, he realizes that there might be extra consequences to it that might involve having fraudulent sort of whatever with his business. You get these detectives in the movie who are kind of urging him along to kind of play along with what A$AP Rocky is demanding. A$AP Rocky's name in this movie, by the way, is Young Felon, but spelled Y-U-N-G. So I defend my initial misspelling of the best line in this movie, which is on my banner here. Boston pulled the emergency brake. Very funny line. Thank you. I won't spoil it too much if you haven't seen the movie, but if you see the movie, you're just not going to forget that. That is the centerpiece of this movie. Okay, this movie. I hate to use the puns, but this movie does have some high parts. It has some low parts. It's definitely highest to lowest. But the centerpiece of this movie is the cash exchange that Denzel Washington has with the kidnappers, which is a complex and very visually exciting sequence that takes place on a New York City subway near Yankee Stadium. And it's in the middle of Puerto Rican Day, which, of course, Monty Brogan famously said is the worst parade in the city. You also have some great cameo appearances by Rosie Perez and Anthony Ramos. And, of course, the late, great Eddie Palmieri, who provides the score for that sequence. That is already a Pinot nominee for best scene for me this year. That was a great sequence, one of Spike's best sequences in a very long time. This movie actually, to me, has two potential Pinot nominees. That for best scene. I guess we could say the emergency break for best line. And I think A$AP Rocky's really good in this movie, especially considering that we don't really see him on screen until the last half of the movie. The movie has, again, two show-stopping sequences. One of them is the sequence on the train itself. The other is the actual confrontation that Denzel has with A$AP Rocky at the end of the movie. And it's shot, I won't say, again, the circumstances behind it too much because it's kind of a spoiler, but it's shot as this two-shot where they're kind of looking at each other. And the camera does something really interesting in that scene that I've never seen done in another movie that involves sort of a split screen. And I just thought that scene visually was really fascinating to watch. There's also some rap battles that happened unexpectedly in this movie, which was kind of cool to see. Denzel in this movie is, unhinged at times. There's definitely a little bit of like Training Day Denzel in this movie, but there's also some Fences Denzel. And it's a reminder that he is just awesome when he's unhinged. He's like 70 years old at this point, and yet he beats the shit out of people in this movie. He is not someone who you want to take lightly. He's pretty intimidating, which is awesome. The movie is shot in New York City. Last week, we reviewed a movie that also took place in New York City. I just felt like that movie didn't capture it. This movie beautifully captures New York City, especially, again, on those sequences on the subway. It just and the scenes at Yankee Stadium feel really authentic. Is the movie perfect? No. It's too long. It has some scenes that are meandering. You get the sense a little bit that Spike Lee is not big into hip hop. He's sort of anti R&B in this movie. It feels a little bit like his age is showing a little bit. And I do have to say that the message of a poor billionaire who's trying to stand up for what's right in life, which is the music, he wants to. There's a line in the movie where Denzel actually says the line, there's more to life than making money. And again, I think that's a real glib statement. That's kind of a very like superficial mentality to have for someone who as frankly heady and as cerebral as Spike Lee, because I think this movie has a lot to say about class and economic structure in this country and maybe the music industry. But to reduce it to that Denzel doesn't want to be a sellout, he realizes the power of music, I think is, again, kind of glib and it's oversimplified. However, it's undeniable that this movie's fun. It's breezy, although it's too long. It should have been an hour, 45 minutes. But when it's going, particularly in the scenes that involve A$AP Rocky, when it stays focused on the actual kidnapping, it rocks. So I'm at a high 3 stars. This is a nice comeback for Spike, who hasn't made a movie, I feel like, in a while. And Denzel's great in it. And when it works really well.
All right. I'm going to go next on this one. I was not that impressed. I think one of the things, Zach, that you said at the end there is when it's going well, it's going really well. It's not going well that often. There's like two or three scenes in this. Like you mentioned the like whole sequence of the cash grab and stuff, which is kind of cool, but you also can't follow it either and know what's going on. I think the best scene is when we first meet A$AP Rocky's character. I think that's the best scene in the movie, but I feel like the whole movie is just like it's a framework to try and make those scenes happen, and no one cared about what was going on in the meantime. Like the plot doesn't make any sense. There are things that characters do that you go, wait, why are you doing that? And that makes no sense because of this. It just the plot just gets stuck in itself and it's like, oh, it's all just to set up this moment. Gotcha. The score is super distracting. and doesn't fit the mood or the tone of the movie at all. And this is a movie about music, and it uses this like super corny, cheesy score that doesn't fit anything. And then when you see the animated girl with wearing the headphones as the screen wipe, I'm like, all right, what are we doing, Spike? Really? We're resorting to this? Like, that's like filmmaking 101 stuff right there. Come on, you're better than that. I don't know. And then how many times did characters have to say the word mayhem to remind everyone that Mayhem is the lead investigator of the kidnapping from the Allstate commercials? Like he shows up, and then after that, it's like once a scene, it's like it's just gonna be mayhem. And it's like Spike makes the cops out to be complete fools because that's what he thinks of them. I don't know. This movie was all just setting up those few really great scenes. And you're right, when it's good, it's really good. Just the rest of it is really bad. And I've got it at 2 stars because those scenes are that good. Like, there are a couple scenes in this that would qualify for our power rankings later. And I considered actually putting it on there because like it's the one scene, the first scene you meet A$AP Rocky, it's worth it. It's worth watching the movie to get to that scene. Kinda.
That's funny.
Adam, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you, Terry. The score was super distracting. It felt like it was elevator music the entire time. Like got annoying. I'm like, what is this score? It feels like everything was really weird for a movie about music and kind of the music industry to a certain extent. That was kind of distracting. A$AP Rocky, though, I will continue the praise of him. Yeah, his stuff was really awesome. The first scene you see of him and his last sequence are some of the really great sequence. I do like the subway sequence because it completely feels like you would be in that space in New York.
Oh, you mean the scene they stole from Collateral? Okay.
Yeah, well, this is definitely the lowest of the 3 train movies for Denzel. I think Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 is better than this one too.
Well, no, just the climactic thing on the subway. I'm like, it felt like Collateral. Like that whole thing was Collateral.
Well, yeah, and then taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 as well. It takes place like the final on the subway. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. Interesting to see the cameos they did get. It was definitely like, let's remind everybody that I like the Knicks and I hate the Celtics, and also like there's some Lakers in there too, or I go to the Lakers games. So make those references there. That was fun. But the A$AP Rocky's really good. Is some of the performances when they do bring in music talent, some of them are good, like A$AP, and then some of them are really bad. I like looking at you, Ice Spice, when she shows up. I'm like, yeah, this is what movie are you in?
She's good in the movie. That's mean.
Well, I don't know. It was definitely
got 30 seconds of screen time. I mean,
and it was distracting. I was like, oh yeah, you're not. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Not a big point of the movie, but yeah, I'm at 2 stars here too. I think there's some really good stuff, but then there's the stuff that I just felt like, what's this about? Like, what are we getting at? But yeah, and Jeffrey Wright's we haven't talked about him at all really, but yeah, he's good. It feels like this is what he would do after American Fiction, maybe. And who knows?
Yeah, when A$AP Rocky shows up, it's good. It's just he doesn't show up until last like 15 minutes of the movie. So
essentially, yeah.
All right, Todd, are you gonna make this a split, or are you siding with us?
I mean, I'm not giving this thumbs up. No, I do really like the father-son stuff at the beginning, like the scene in the car, like that felt like old school Spike Lee stuff. Like that was a really cool scene. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Denzel is miscast in this movie. Like, I mean, Jeffrey Wright would have made so much more sense as the lead instead of like the supposed hothead ex-criminal chauffeur that he is. Like, that would have fit more Denzel's character because he doesn't even look the part. The score is terrible. It's overdone. It's invasive on almost every scene that it appears in. And there's just a lot of exposition that seems misplaced and takes away from the actual backbone of the movie. And the son is 10 years too old for that part. Like that guy looked like he was in his mid 30s and he's supposed to be a 17-year-old. I was like, oh man, like I don't know why they couldn't have cast like an actual kid. The movie just seems forced. Like once the kidnapping is introduced, it gets muddled and overblown while it's still trying to maintain intimacy of some kind. The structure is still dynamic. The moral dilemma is compelling, but the actual mystery in it is less interesting than it was when Kurosawa did it. I watched that movie a few weeks ago, and that actually makes more sense with how they did the story rather than putting it in this context. And they give up the kidnapper super early. Like there's a scene where he's on the phone. It's like, okay, you know exactly what character that is, like almost immediate in the movie, which was intriguing because that's not the way that you probably should do it if it's supposed to be some sort of mystery. And then the trailer made it seem it was going to be like a Liam Neeson movie or something, but that was only for like a very brief point in this movie. Spike Lee clearly has made the movie with a lot of skill because he is very talented, but the first-time screenwriter is the problem here. Like, I mean, the characters are thinly drawn and caricatures. The plot is flimsy and simplistic. I mean, I was actually expecting something updated to 2025 too, but this could have been made 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Would have been the exact same kind of thing, except for a few lines that placed it in 2025. And I do like the cameo by Brucey from The Longest Yard. That was a good part. I don't really think the exchange of the money really made sense. It was kind of poorly shot, and none of it really added up. And it was kind of obvious what was going on the whole time. It spends way too much time in the weeds, like trying to set up stuff like that. It's entertaining, but has so many flaws. But the confrontations at the end between King and the kidnapper almost save it. I don't think A$AP Rocky is that necessarily that high of a war. It could have been like, you know, Kid Cudi or like basically any rapper probably would have given the same amount of passion in those scenes, but it really works because their chemistry is really great in those scenes. That almost saves it. It's a respectful 2.5 stars, but I'm way closer to 2 stars than 3 stars.
My wife, I watched it with the wife today, and she was like, "Is that T.I.?" When you first hear A$AP's voice, and it's like, because it sounds like T.I., and T.I. would have made this maybe like 10 years ago. I feel like so. When
you did Takers,
yeah, that's exactly what I thought of too. I'm like, it sounds like he's from Takers. We take it, yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing with the by the way, the kid who plays Trey is 27, Todd, not 35. But point taken.
Well, he looked more like 35.
10 years too old. Yeah,
the exchange scene, I mean, it's cool, but then when you stop and think about it and go, wait a second, this is a small time, you know, a small time rapper, doesn't have many resources, and he plans an Ethan Hunt style elaborate plan to steal this backpack. I'm like, that also doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Like
cool. It was maybe a little bit beyond his level of
like, where did all these henchmen come from?
Yeah,
and then he's got nobody, and then it's just him and his producer
and hide the money under his bed.
Yeah,
No, listen, I don't disagree with all your criticisms. Although I will say the music thing, if you've ever watched a Spike Lee movie, his music is always loud. Okay, that's just a thing he does.
It's not loud, it's bad.
It's elevator music.
This is not He Got Game when like the swirling camera and the music's really loud while they're talking. Like there's only a couple scenes that are actually like that. This, like, that music is throughout, and it doesn't fit with almost any scene that's in.
I disagree. I like the music. The problem was the editor turned it up maybe a little too loud on Spike's insistence, and to me that's not that. To me that's a nitpick. Like, who cares? It's fine. Well, you know, you don't watch the movie for the music.
I mean, there was like 3 or 4 like musical type scenes in this. I think the music is a big part of the movie.
The music is a big part of the movie. Not the score, but it does have. See, I had a criticism about the music too, which is that Spike seems to be saying that this hip hop music that the kids like nowadays on their screens and on their TikTok is the wrong music, and so you should only like the standards, like Rodgers and Hammerstein, like at the beginning of the film, and then the last 15 minutes of the movie is totally unnecessary. I mean, I think the only reason for that sequence, because the movie is essentially over by that point, is really twofold. Number one, to show the kind of music that Spike Lee finds acceptable, and number two, to show that, hey, this guy found his conscience and he's going to do the right thing for the music, and it's not about the money. And again, that is a glib sort of philosophy. That's very oversimplified. But again, I don't disagree with you guys. I just find those problems to be less problematic. I think the movie has a lot of fun stuff that is, frankly, it makes me forget about those other issues. But I think it's fine. I think you guys are valid in what you're saying. I think even Spike to some degree would probably acknowledge that.
There's even a moment where I was like, all right, so there's a moment where like Denzel is approaching a red door to, like it's like this big climactic moment. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't we have the famous Spike Lee tracking shot in that moment? Like that's what we needed. Instead, we had almost like a Silence of the Lambs-esque like tracking toward the door instead of the tracking shot on Denzel. Like that's a Spike thing. And like I was disappointed. I'm like, where's this tracking shot gonna come in? And then like this is the spot. Here it comes, and he didn't do it.
Yeah. My best defense for this movie, why I'm giving it thumbs up. Name another director who would have made this movie better in this way. Like I think Spike is not
making about music.
Well, I think any other director would have made this a very standard sort of kidnapping potboiler type movie. And the focus of this movie is not always on the kidnapping. The focus is on the moral quandary of the character.
Well, that's the story. That's high and low. Like, I mean, that.
Yeah, I'm saying
it's very more. It's a lot more clear what the message of the movie is, or the message of the story is in the original. I don't think this is that hard of a movie to make. It's just Spike Lee made it as a Spike Lee movie.
It's not a hard movie to make. What I'm saying is that I think he tackles some ambitious ideas that most directors would shy away from, and instead focus on, again, the kidnapping plot and then action scenes, boring action scenes that we've seen a million times. In this movie, the action scene is cool, and it comes at a very important point when it feels refreshing and unique. And again, the confrontation, even you said, Terry, when you see A$AP Rocky, I mean, that's a great little sequence there. Yeah, forget the other stuff. It's probably 30 minutes too long, but that stuff is cool. That's going to stand out to me, and I'm going to remember it.
Last point for me is when you were talking earlier, I got this comparison in my mind. So Spike Lee is essentially Huey Lewis in the music is too damn loud in Back to the Future. Essentially, that's what I can't get out of my head now.
I think you're talking about American Psycho.
No,
I could have seen like what Cord Jefferson did with American Fiction, like put him in the director's
F. Gary Gray.
F. Gary Gray. Okay.
Antoine.
I was also thinking what would this look like if like Boots Riley took it? Like that's.
I don't know. I mean, what about like Greg Quidar, the director of Sing Sing? Like, I mean, something like that. Like you can make it more stripped down and make it more interesting instead of trying to be an action movie in the center of like a really compelling moral dilemma.
I don't know. I thought Spike merged it pretty well, and I'm not going to downgrade a movie.
This is definitely better than Old Boy.
Yeah, don't watch his movie first.
He's attempted this before with other movies, and it's failed. I look no further than The Sweet Blood of Jesus. But in this movie, I don't know. I think it works well, and I think Denzel. I know you said he's miscast, Todd. I think he's awesome in the movie. I don't know what you mean miscast. He's great. It's so fun seeing Denzel in that mode again. And
wouldn't it have been a better Jeffrey Wright role?
I think Jeffrey Wright is fine in the role that he's in this movie.
I don't think he's right for that role at all. Like, it would
have been interesting if you just swapped them. That would have been really interesting.
I think Jeffrey Wright is it's notable that he's in the movie. It almost feels like there were maybe some scenes that were cut with him that would have fleshed out that character a little bit more. That there are other scenes that could have replaced it. I don't know. This movie the editing is a little scrambled. I'll give you that.
Yeah, there's a lot of multi-hugs there going on. It's like, we just saw the same edit.
Yeah, what's with those cuts of like let's just show the last like half second again. I know
that's a Spike.
It's something where like Spike is at a point now where he's trying so hard to be different, but it's still Spike, and so it's like traditional different. I don't know.
I disagree with that. I think I almost think it's the exact opposite. I think he's trying to do the same stuff that he was doing 20 years ago to some degree. Like if you want to criticize the movie, say this Spike Lee is inserting himself too much into this movie. Charlie Kaufman, I've written myself into my own movie. I mean, that's always a criticism. I know Todd and I have talked about this with Spike Lee movies before. I actually think it's somewhat mitigated in this movie. You see it somewhat more in his other movies, but I'm just grateful for Spike. I think he's awesome, and I love this as an ode to New York City and an FU to the Celtics. And come on, the Puerto Rican Day Parade with the music and Rosie Perez. You guys, that's worth the price of admission alone, okay? That was so awesome. And you didn't have to pay any price of admission because it was on Apple TV Plus. So come on. It was great.
I had forgotten about the scene, honestly, until you talked about it.
I would say it was nice to see him in this mode again. I think it's a similar mode to what he did in Inside Man, of just trying to make like a straight up fun movie. Where that's not his like message preachy movies like Black Klansman and stuff like that. So it was cool to see him just do that, but still, I don't think it was that well executed. Okay, so 2 stars from me, 2 stars from Adam, 2.5 stars from Todd. Zach is the one giving it a thumbs up with 3 stars. It is on Apple TV Plus. It's easy to find. Go check that out if any of this sounds interesting to you.